What's happening, YouTube? KitePlanet here, or Kite if you're like that. Some people aren't like that, but I'm like that. I'm back today with another power system crossover video, but not the same as I usually do. I'm not giving a character from a verse an ability from another verse. I'm taking an ability from a verse and stuffing it into a box to fit the rules and parameters of another verse's power system. Pretty cool. This is how I originally started off this series. If you want to check out more videos of power system crossovers, I have a playlist called Power System Crossovers. I've done several. I've done quite a few, almost 20 now, and check that out. I think you'd like that. You see, I got the Dragon Ball shirt on in honor of Dragon Ball Daima, first episode releasing today. Also, you have Dragon Ball Sparking Zero out right now too, so this is just a fitting shirt. RIP Akira Toriyama, y'all know the deal. Show some love for him, hit the like button, say what you need to say. Okay, so actually a couple housekeeping rules. I will be doing the review for Hunter x Hunter chapter 402 whenever it comes out, Sunday, Monday, whenever. So if you want to be there for that, like this video, whatever, comment, subscribe, whatever you need to do to be here when that drops, because we're definitely shifting from chapter 401. You know, Hunter x Hunter is one of those manga that will shift perspective and plot lines every chapter, so need to be there for that. I think that's it for that. Let's just get right into it. So today we're going to be taking the 10 Shadows curse technique from Jujutsu Kaisen and turning it into a NEN ability. Can we do that? I think we can do that. So what's the name of this ability? What are we going to name it in the Hunter x Hunterverse? I'm going to leave that up to y'all. I came up with just like a placeholder, NEN Shadows, kind of like NEN Stitches. I love that name, NEN Stitches. So simple, clean cut, to the point. It's thread. You use it to sew shit. NEN Stitches. Pretty cool. So NEN Shadows sounds like 10 Shadows. Pretty cool. Nothing crazy. So what's the... also, if I didn't incorporate Mahoraga into this because I felt that would take a lot of conditions, restrictions, and shit to do. So if you want to tell me as the audience how you can incorporate Mahoraga into a NEN ability and make him a product of a hatsu, go ahead. You can either do it now, before, or after you hear how I've set up the ability, and maybe you can be like, oh, since you did this, this is how you can get Mahoraga in. So let me know. I'm curious to see if anyone can freak that, if anyone can do that. All right, so first things first, what is going to be the affinity of the 10 Shadows technique, the 10 Shadows Hatsu? It's important. I think we all thought the original NEN chart was just a symbolic diagram. It just shows you all the affinities and which one you could possibly be. It doesn't represent anything. It's just a chart. Not even a chart. It's just a symbolic picture to represent each affinity. Well, with the new information in the new NEN chart, it becomes not just symbolic, but actually functional. It becomes a diagram, something that you can, work with. And we know that now you can be in between affinity. Well, everyone's born with one innate affinity. You can't ever change. And there's rare cases where some people change to specialist due to certain circumstances, but that's it. You can't go from transmuter to manipulator. It's just not possible. It doesn't work like that. So, but you can have an innate technique of, say, conjuration and have an equal affinity or proclivity for transmutation. So you can do stuff like that. So I think that's what we're going to do today. I decided to make the 10 Shadows curse technique, or 10 Shadows Hatsu, a manipulation ability with an equal proclivity for emission. That's what we're going to do. So it's a manipulation technique at heart, but it uses equal parts emission. That's what we're going to do. So wrap your head around that. We need that. All right, so how do we incorporate the shadow part? Because that's the most important part, without a doubt. If we're not incorporating shadows, what's the point in doing this video? So I came up with an idea. It's sort of like, since I've been playing Sparking Zero and other fight games, not even just fighting games, but any video games, where you got to press two buttons at the same time to activate one technique or one ability. This is what this is going to be. So let me tell you the two steps, the two buttons you'd have to press. R1 square, let's just say that. Well, R1 is going to be Release aura from your feet that follows the contours of your shadow on the ground. So if I'm standing up, sun's above me, my shadow's in front of me, I release aura from my feet to shape it perfectly how my shadow is shaped. At the same time, here's the square button. The first one was R1. Square is form the hand sign of the Shikigami that you want. So if it was Nue, I'd have to emit aura from my feet, shape it to my shadow, and at the same time, do the form of Nue. Okay, that's the 2 steps for activation for the 10 Shadows ability in Hunter x Hunter as a Hatsu. What happens when you do this is the aura will turn black like your shadow, whatever black you want it to be. It could be pitch black, or it could be the black of a shadow where it's kind of translucent but still black. And it turns black like your shadow, and it forms the chosen shape from the 10 preset forms you assigned at the conception of the Hatsu. A lot of big words in there, but all that means is when you created the Hatsu, you had 10 shadows or 10 things that you set to be, 10 hand signs, and they each represent the 10 shadows, like in Jujutsu Kaisen. But you can't change them. They were set, and that's how this ability it gets a boost in power, because you can't work with that. It is what it is from when you created it, and then it's up to your battle prowess to use what you've already set. 10 shadows. And I said there's not 10 shadows only means if there's Mahoraga included. He's the 10th shadow, as one would say. So if I didn't include him, what's the 10th shadow? Well, we'll get to that in a second. So here's the conditions for the ability. I already told you, emit aura, shape your shadow, doing a hand sign for whatever one you want, and your shadow will form into that shadow. And I got this idea actually from, spoiler here, so if you haven't read the manga of Jujutsu Kaisen, I'll put a stamp here that you can skip to. But when Sukuna was in Megumi's body using his techniques to fight and kill Yorozu, he used 10 shadows in a way that Megumi had never even thought to do. He manifested the shadows without a form, without a shape, without a form. And so it increased their power or range, one of the two. Or no, it increased the range and shit like that, but it decreased like the offensive power because it didn't have an actual form. But he made up for that by having such immense output and cursed energy in general. So it's only something that Sukuna would be able to do. But we're going to take that same style and apply it to this and say that it doesn't detach from the shadow. Okay, so it stays on the body of the user in Hunter x Hunter. So the shadow stays attached to your own shadow, and that's how you manipulate it. So as long as it stays attached to your shadow, you can control them freely through a mental link, of course. This is where the manipulation aspect comes in. It is a manipulation ability at heart. So when you do the thing, you form your aura, your shadow, boom, do the hand sign, it'll come up as this is Nue, the freaking owl, lightning owl. It will come up like a big ass owl that's black, and it will freaking wrap around your body, and you can control it and make it do things. Obviously, it can't go away from your body. It needs to stay on you, and it's still aura. It's super strong. You can mold it in any way you want. It can attack, defend, and do all types of things. Create barriers. It can do a bunch of things. But so I'll refer you to chapter 218, page 11 of Jujutsu Kaisen if you want to get a mental picture of how this ability would actually look. If it was in Hunter x Hunter, it would look like how Sukuna used it. I'll pull it. I don't know if I'll pull it up. I don't want to get copyrighted, but I gave it to you. Chapter 218, page 11, if you want to see it. Or it's actually earlier in that, but it's chapter 218. You'll see it. So yeah, that's how you use that. So you get the hand sign, shadow. Nue comes up, it's wrapped around your body. You can use it to attack mentally. So you can incorporate it into your fighting style while controlling it mentally. But here's the catch. The condition is you must maintain the hand sign for the shadow to stay manifested. So if I'm fighting, like I said, you control it mentally. Nue's wings will be doing all the attacking and whatever you want to do. You can even use emission techniques by shooting the feathers and stabbing people. However you want to use it, like I said. Because he does have equal proclivity for emission, so he could do that. You have to keep your hands like this. If I release my hands, Nue will be released. So You might be like, bro, that's too harsh of a condition, but listen to me. There is a way to summon multiple shadows at once. Hear me out. Welcome me here. All you have to do is complete the same steps. So shape your aura into the shape of your actual shadow while doing a hand sign of whichever Shikigami you want, and it will form it. Now, in order to detach it from you, you must give it say its name and give it a one-word command. And then it will detach itself, and that's when it becomes an emission technique. So this is the part where it becomes an emission. He's half manipulator, half emitter. So he gives it Nue, and he says, okay, I want to summon fucking round deer or tiger funeral or piercing ox, but I can't do that while I'm holding this hand sign. So Nue, interfere, or Nue, attack, Nue, defend, whatever one word command he wants, and it will detach itself and do that. It'll only do whatever the one word command. So if it goes out and attacks and gets destroyed, fuck, you made a bad decision, bro. So it's all about your prowess with the ability. But once he detaches it, he can summon another one, and he can do that as many times as he wants. Obviously, you can't summon multiple Nues. Maybe, actually, you can. Actually, no, you can't. You can do that with the frogs, though. So the ones that you can do multiple of are like the frogs and the rabbits, obviously. But yeah, so we'll keep those same rules because they can still apply. It just depends on what conditions you set. If you could make them smaller, and that way, you could summon 10 frogs because the frogs are 1/10 the size of a Nue, or 1/10 the size of piercing ox or tiger, whatever you want it to be, round deer. So yeah, all you have to do is give it a one-word command to detach it from your shadow. It will do that command until it gets destroyed. If it gets destroyed, it may get the job done. You never know. It depends on who you're fighting. So yeah, pretty cool right there. Give it a hand sign, form your shadow with your aura, hand sign at the same time, R1 square, boom. Your shadow rises up, a black aura, shapes into whatever your hand sign is that you set at the conception of the ability, at the creation of the ability, and it can attack and do everything you want it to do through a mental leak of manipulation. If you want to detach it from yourself, you give it a one-word command, and it will do that until it's dead. Basically, it becomes just an autonomous freaking mass of aura shaped like an animal that you emitted, and they're not complex. Nothing's complex. So it's just one command, it does that, and that's it. Now, that's not the end of the ability, because I did say there were 10 shadows, and I didn't mention what the 10th shadow was. But before I get to that 10th shadow, I must address something that you might have overlooked, or you might have thought I overlooked. And it's the cool, neat ability of 10 shadows that stores stuff inside of the shadow. Is that possible, Kite? Can we do that? Can we incorporate that? Yes, we can incorporate that. I don't actually wear glasses. These are blue light glasses, but I was wondering, people that do wear glasses, when you put your shirt on, do you put yourself face first through the neck hole, or still head first like normal people? Honest question. I'm curious about that, because when I had these on, trying to put a shirt on, I had to like go face first. It was weird. I hate that y'all have to deal with that if y'all do. But anyways, let's get into what I call shadow storage. Pretty raw name. I like that. So all you have to do is the same steps in the beginning. You just need to do R1 basically, which is emit aura from the bottom of your feet and shape it like your shadow, and then it becomes, you don't do a hand sign. So this is how you do that. You just do R1. You shape your aura to your shadow, and then it becomes just a shadow that you can store shit into. It become an emission ability, because emission is the affinity that moves space or interferes with space, interacts with space itself. That was stated, I believe, in the later chapters of Hunter x Hunter in the 370s to 400s. It was somewhere in between there where I believe Nobunaga or somebody said it. It moves space, and Nav has the ability to create pocket dimensions and teleport. Not instant teleportation, but he can cover vast distances in fucking seconds if he wants by using his doors. So yeah, emission can create this pocket dimension. It's not a complex pocket dimension. It's just a liquid-like space. Not liquid, but it's a shadow. You can store stuff in it and then close it up. You can even get into it yourself, but when you're in it, you can't close it. All right. That's the condition. You can hop into it to move and shake, but you can't close it up. It can travel on the ground. Like you would be able to hide in your shadow and then get into somebody else's shadow. And as long as you stay in that shadow, they can't distinguish your ability from another person's shadow. It's like shadow movement in that time I got reincarnated as slime. Gobta uses it a lot. And then Ranga hides in the shadow of Rimuru. It's exactly like that. So you can hide in your shadow. You can't close it though. If you close it while you're in it, I don't know what happens. Maybe it blows up the entire world. I don't know what happens, but something bad will happen. You'll probably die and get trapped or something because you won't be able to open up a shadow in a shadow. You feel me? Think about that. Maybe you can't even close it when you're in it. Think about it. So yeah, that's shadow storage. Pretty cool. You just form your aura. Don't give it a hand sign. It will become a small pocket dimension that you could store stuff in and even get inside and travel in other people's shadows. But you'd have to travel in someone's shadow because if someone sees a shadow just moving on the ground, they'd be like, what the fuck? So pretty difficult. Now, let's talk about the 10th hand sign because these are not based on Shikigami. They're based on the 10 hand signs. Think about that. So in Jujutsu Kaisen, it's about the Shikigami. You get the same damn Shikigami that you must subjugate and make them serve you. Let's say I just defined subjugate. You must subjugate them in order to wield them. In this, you base the ability off of the hand signs. You said, okay, this hand sign will mean owl, and this one will mean whatever the rabbit is, and this one will mean piercing ox, and then whatever tiger funeral. So you had to do it off the hand sign. It's not based off the already existing Shikigami. Even though I know the hand signs remain the same in Jujutsu Kaisen as well, for Hunter x Hunter, they carry more weight because they're literally the crux of the ability. Without the hand sign, you can't do anything. You just have, you can store stuff in your shadow, which is pretty cool, but it's not offensively useful. So the 10th hand sign or shadow, the 10th shadow is Megami's domain expansion. Okay, it is Chimera Shadow Garden, and let me explain it to you. So, it's all the same steps. Form your aura to shape your shadow, except the 10th hand sign is the domain expansion hand sign. I'm so cold, bro. I'm really cold when I do. I'm a genius. I'm really like that. The 10th hand sign is the Chimera Shadow Garden hand sign. Boom, and that's how you activate that. So, what does this do with Hunter x Hunter? Because it's different. So, the aura will, instead of expanding into the shape of something, it expands in all directions. But you must be inside of an enclosed space, just like in Jujutsu Kaisen. So this ability, Chimera Shadow Garden, functions exactly like Crollo's indoor fish ability, where it only works in an enclosed space, and as soon as you open it up, the ability deactivates. But since the condition is that it only works in an enclosed space, it's super strong and no one can really defeat it because of the activation conditions are pretty hard. It's hard to find a space that is completely enclosed in when you need to fight. And most likely you'd be outside, or even if you were inside, there'd be a door open or window. It's pretty hard to activate. But once you do, you activate it, boom, you form your aura into the shape of your shadow. You do the Chimera Shadow Garden hand sign. I don't even remember what it is. I'll put it up. And then your aura, boom, expands out and fills up whatever room you're in. Obviously, it can't be the size of like a freaking opera theater. It has to be a reasonable size. So maybe like the size of a house, just like a 4-bedroom house. That's pretty big. So it can only cover so many square feet. I'll let you decide how much that is. But we're not going like 10,000 square feet. That's too goddamn big. And he can do the same thing he does in Chimera Shadow Garden, which is summon all of the Shikigami, but he doesn't need the hand signs because he's surrounded by shadow and he can just mentally manipulate them and he can detach them at the same time. So it's a full 100% manipulation, 100% emission. Maybe that's not even 100% emission because 100%, no, it is 100% emission because he's inside of this enclosed space where he can break the rules of reality under constriction of his own ability. So yeah, pretty cool. It's basically just Chimera Shadow Garden. It's exactly like that. But the conditions are so good in Jujutsu Kaisen that I don't really need to change it. Just the fact that it can't be any enclosed space. There has to be a certain size. And Also, it's completely dark. He can't see anybody, but it's aura, so he can use it to the same effect as N, where he can sense and detect. That's the only thing. It's completely dark. He can't see, the other person can't see, and so taking away both of their senses boosts it again. The other person could use N too, but I don't know if you can use N and attack at the same time. The ability itself for the person wielding the NEN Shadows ability is the N, so he can, it's just already functioning like that. But that's the freaking video, guys. What do you think about my creation of the NEN Shadows, 10 Shadows, whatever you want to call it? It's a cool manipulation emission based ability. We covered most of all the important parts of the 10 Shadows technique. Obviously, we can't give a form and special abilities to each and every single shadow in the 10 Shadows, because that would take a bunch of conditions. We could do it, but I would like to leave that up to probably y'all, the people. If you could figure out a way, like I said, figure out a way to summon Mahoraga with this, with the conditions and parameters I've given you, and you could also pick a cool name for the ability. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty cool. And I do recommend you go check out the chapter 218 of JJK to get like a full grasp of how this would look. I think Sukuna did it with the Divine Dogs. It's pretty sick. But if you like this video, if you think what I did is cool, like the video. If you have better ideas, drop them down. We can discuss it. I can see what y'all are talking about. If y'all talking about anything, some of y'all might not be talking about shit, but we'll see. Hey, leave a like, man. Show some love for me real quick. And also, I'll be doing chapter review for Hunter x Hunter, if I didn't already mention that. 402. So if you want to catch that, subscribe, do what you need to do, and I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace. 大事にしなかった私の頭は無理みたいなんだ言い訳